Welcome to our meadow painting today. We're going to be painting in watercolor, which is a new medium for a lot of people. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to be replicating these photos that I took. This is like a yellow meadow of sweet clover, I believe it's called, just down the road. And I took this picture of some beautiful clouds. So we're just going to incorporate them all and make one painting. I hope you're ready. And you saw the previous video of the supplies that we'll be needing. So what we're going to do is, if you look at this drawing, this painting, this picture, not the painting, the picture, we're going to just quickly draw a horizon line and just a quick sketch of these trees in the background. And that's all we're going to need, sort of keep us in line. Okay, so you can see this is almost in the middle, but we never do the horizon line straight in the middle. So I'm just going to go towards the center, and a little bit further down is where I'm going to be drawing a straight line very lightly with my pencil across. All right, so that is that horizon line right there. And then I'm going to add these trees, just a very loose and very light bit of trees on that side, and also on this side. I'm just going to come a little further up like this and just very loosely draw our trees, and then further away there are some more trees. So just a light drawing of some trees further in the background, and that's all I'm going to do for this. All right, so let's get started. I have my paper towel in my hand, always have that handy. I'm going to use my large brush, which is clear water on it. And I am going to just wet the sky area. Just go slow. You see, this holds a lot of water. I'm going to just leave some paper without water, because that's going to be some cloud effects. I'm just going to go just roughly around my pencil drawings and just put some water on the paper. Actually, I have a lot of water on there. I've left some areas without water. Okay. Everybody at this point? Okay, so the next step is I'm going to take my cobalt blue. There's still a lot of water on my brush, and I'm going to just add some water to it. Cobalt blue is usually a good color for sky, but I want to have a very dramatic sky. When I took that photograph the other day, it was so beautiful. And this is indigo. I'm going to add a little bit of indigo. Oh, that's a lot of indigo, so that's awesome. Sort of a dark color. We'll add some more as we go along. Some water. And your paper is still wet. We are just going to loosely start painting. You don't want to paint everything. I'm going to leave a section open for this beautiful cloud. So you don't want to paint anything on there. Just follow along with this cloud, making a shape, leaving some areas open like this. I think I like that. See, because it's wet, the paper is wet and the brush is wet. It gets to spread out a little bit more. I think I like this. We're gonna come back and add some more pigment, because as watercolor dries, it dries much lighter. Okay, so we'll just do that part. And I'm gonna rinse my brush a little bit so that there's not too much paint pigment on there anymore. And I'm just gonna go in here just a few areas just to make the shadow of our clouds, of our big cloud right there. And also, if you see areas that are triangles or squares or sharp corners, you just want to soften those out, because there's no such thing in the sky as a sharp edge like that. Okay, I like that. We're gonna let it sit for just a second. And I'm gonna add some more cobalt and indigo and make it more dramatic. Look at that. So just wherever you just want to put some more color. Keep adding paint as you go along. Going to even more dramatic with some areas, especially around the cloud area there. I love this brush. All right, I think I like it like this. I'm gonna leave it for a minute to sit, and we are gonna get back here and just tidy it up a little, make it a little more interesting. Okay, I like it. That looks good. All right, so rinse, rinse, rinse. I remember this is my 1 jar of water that is going to be for my dirty water. And then I'm going to just put it in my clean water so it's nice and clean. I'm going to get a sip of some tea while you're catching up, if you need to catch up. Okay, so the next part we're gonna take is the meadow. This is a yellow meadow, and so we're just going to add our yellow onto there. Okay, so we got the dark yellow, which is actually raw sienna. And I'm gonna add some of this regular yellow. We're just gonna do a wash of yellow. All right, more water, because we just want to wash. I'm just gonna wash. Look at this nice big brush. I would just wash it right over. Okay, so that's a nice wash. I'm gonna take some of this raw sienna, and while it's still wet, add just a few of the areas that are gonna have some shadow. Just here and there. Okay, that looks really good. You know, and while I have this wet, I'm gonna take a pinch of salt. Take just a little bit of salt, and I'm just gonna sprinkle it on here. See if we get the effect of some, we're just sprinkling some salt on here. This is very coarse salt. Whatever you have in your kitchen. Let's see how that works out. I think it'll be awesome. It's gonna give us the effect of some flowers. We're gonna let that dry, don't touch it. And what we're gonna do now is we're going to mix our green. Let's mix some green. I have this Viridian green that's very strong, that's not too exciting. I'm gonna add some of the cobalt blue to it tone it down, some yellow. Just want to make an interesting green color. Just mix until you find the right color you want. Maybe some more of this. Yeah, there you go. Just an interesting color. We don't want it to be too muddy. All right, that looks good. Okay, load up the brush. And now we're going to just go in here and create the wash for the trees. This over here is a little further back, so we're just gonna get those. I might have too much water on my brush, so I'm gonna just wipe it off. Add some more pigment. All right, that's better. Just like that. We're just putting a base down for our trees. And while I have that green, I'm just going to touch it a little bit here and there. Try not to mess with the salt that you have on there. Okay, I like it. I am going to be making this a little darker with my indigo and this green color. And a little less water this time. And we're going to pretty much just dab. See how I'm just dabbing as opposed to painting? This gives you the effect of some trees in the background. And using the little tip, the tip of the brush. Nice sharp tip there. Just dab it along. And this side too. Dab it. Different kinds of trees. Take a tip of the brush again. Now, if you want to just use the thin brush, which is where? It's hiding. It's over here somewhere. The number 4 brush. Let's get another one here. You can use that to make your little dots and things like that. This is a different brush than I showed you earlier. Okay, so we just dab. And then I want to make some more indigo just to make it even darker over here. Just right there at the base of the trees. We want to go darker. And we're gonna go even more dark in a little bit. More dark, is that a word? More dark. All right, adding some black. Not black, indigo. Darker color. If you don't have indigo, you can use your paints gray or you can use your black just to make the green darker. Okay, I'm just playing around there, making the shape of the trees. And I'm also, you can notice, I'm going pretty fast, but I'm also gonna go, not make a straight line across there because this is not a lake. I'm gonna make, this is a meadow of flowers. If it was a lake, we'd be a little bit straighter across. some more dark. Just add some dabs of darker color for our trees. And we can go back in there in a little bit. Okay, just want to make this back there a little bit more interesting. I'm also going to take my paper towel and maybe just lift off some paint. Just lifting some of it off so that it just gives it more interest. Okay, so now we still have green on our brush. I'm gonna rinse that off. Really good. And you still have a little bit more on your brush, so I'm gonna just use that to make some more green. Shadows and things that live there. Okay, we're also going to add some green over here, just in the foreground. See how I'm just kind of lifting the brush up like this, very loose. It's okay if you pick up some of the pieces of salt, that's all right. We'll just leave it like this for now. Just play with it a little bit more until you're happy. And then we're gonna let this sit for a few minutes to dry. A lot of artists have to speed things up, they have a hair dryer, and that could speed things up a little bit, but we'll just let it sit for a few minutes and let it dry, and then we'll get right back to you. Okay, so we are back and we've let the painting sit for a few minutes just to dry. And I'm gonna see how this worked out. You do the same thing. I'm gonna just take just anything that you have. I'm gonna just use the back of this paint tube and I'm just gonna scrape some of that salt, or if you wanna make sure that that it's dry so you don't scrape your paint. So yeah, you can see cute little flowers forming. Some paint on this green isn't dry yet. It's not going to scrape too much. But where it is dry, I am actually going to just use the edge of my paint tube and make fancy little grassies. Okay, that's just a little trick. All right, so what I want to do is, you see, I already started over here. I couldn't wait. So what I did is I took some of my Payne's Gray or your black, whatever you have, and mixed some green with it so that it's really super dark. And I'm just going around the bottom edges of that forest back there, all those trees, just to give a really good contrast between the green and that yellow. All right, so we're just doing this. Again, I'm still using the little brush. And some more on this end. And we're gonna let that sit for a little bit and dry also. Okay, looking good. So I want to work a little more on the clouds. I'm going to go back with my big brush and really again with our blues, blue and the indigo. But what I'm going to do is, because I don't know if you remember seeing this drawing, this yellow part right here, I'm just going to add a little bit of yellow to it. Okay, so I'm just going to, it really is mostly water and a little bit of yellow. And where you see the edge of the cloud, don't paint that part. Leave that white so that you have that crisp edge there of white. All right, so I'm just going over that a little. And here. Yeah, maybe in there some. Just looks good like that. Just wherever you want. And I'm also going to take my paper towel that's kind of bunched up and lift some of it off. Just lift some of it off. I don't want it too yellow. It's very light. Okay, there, that looks good. Lift some of the paint off. Okay, rinse the brush because we got yellow on there and we don't want yellow. We want to go back to blue. Okay, so here is our cobalt blue one more time and the indigo. We want to have it really nice and dark this time. Make sure when you mix your watercolors that all of the pigment is dissolved in the water. That looks like a nice dark inky black. And I'm going to just touch along the edges, even more black, even more indigo there. Oh, that looks very stormy. And I'm going to rinse my brush and just blend the edges there. You don't want to see any sharp edges. And I'm going to take just some cobalt blue with water. And maybe just over here touch. A little more, I had too much. This brush really keeps it, puts a lot of water. Grabs a lot of water, so just be careful with that. Kind of like that. I am gonna get my paper towel back and lift off some paint. Where I see I've gone a little overboard. Just lift it off. There you go. That looks good. All right, what do you think? This looks good? Take some off over there. Okay. I'm liking that cloud a lot. I do want to make it a little more crisp. Around the outside edge of that one. So I'm just taking some of of the indigo and make it really dark right there. That looks really good. Okay, very dramatic. This is a very dramatic cloudscape. Okay, and while we have this dark blue, I'm just going to add some into the trees over there. Just kind of make it even more dark so that this contrasts. Okay. All right, then I'm going to take my big brush again, rinse some of the blue out, although we're making our green one more time. So this time, some green and yellow. All right, and then I'm just going to go in and add some more shadows and things, right? Especially underneath there where the tree line is, just some shadow. And just here and there, touch with your brush. And with that same darker color, we're just gonna go at the bottom here one more time and lift it up like that. Just on the ends here and there, we're gonna touch with our Payne's gray, growing up. See how I'm just lifting the brush up to make grasses and things. And let's try that again. We're just going to use the sharp corner of one of our paint tubes, and we are just scraping. You don't want to scrape too hard. Scraping some little grasses and things. If you go towards the right, looks like the wind is blowing that way. You want to get that before it dries. Okay, I like it. So we're gonna let this dry, and once it's completely dry, I will take it off of the board and put it in a frame so that you can see what it would look like when it's all done. All right, I'll see you in a little bit. So I think everything is pretty much dry, and I scraped off as much of the salt as I could, and it did have a few really good, interesting areas where it made little flowers. It could have been better, but I still like it. All right, so we're gonna take this off of the board. Remember, we used the masking tape. And the way that you do that to prevent it from tearing is just to pull it off away from the paper. Away from the paper. From your painting, and go slowly, just really go slowly, because if you rip it, the paper is gonna rip, and then your beautiful painting is ruined. All right, let's do this side. See how I'm pulling it straight away from the paper. All right, this one. And it gives you a beautiful, see, even there, some of the paper came off. It's not too bad though. Okay, I'm gonna take this off my board, painting board, and put it on a I'm dragging all this stuff with me. All right, so I'm just putting it over here so you can see, kind of in the center of this. It's not a mat. I couldn't find a mat in such short notice, so I'm just placing it on there. And this is an old picture frame that I had, so I'm just gonna place it over this with some glass. Watercolor paintings can be framed with glass, unlike acrylics. And there we have it. Beautiful painting. I hope you're enjoying painting this with me. Our next session, we will be painting, let me grab that for you. Something like this. Oh, something fell. A little butterfly on some flowers, different colors, some abstract. Isn't that beautiful? We'll be doing those. Here's another butterfly we can do. It's just a different color. A boat on the ocean or on a lake.